So, good morning, everyone. My name is Kamar Galloway, and I am a computer science teaching fellow here at Google down in Moncks Corner, South Carolina. Now, today I'm going to tell you a little bit about Computer Science First, or CS First, and how you can bring this particular program to your community, right? And so we're gonna, I'm gonna do a few slides where I just kind of talk you through what it means to run a CS First club, and then I'm gonna have, a Q&A session where you can actually ask me questions about CS First. I'm talking any kind of question you may have. Just go ahead and type it out during this entire presentation, and I'll try to answer it to the best of my ability. All right. So we're gonna get started in a few minutes. So let me go ahead and present my slides, and I want to give a shout out to all the people in the world who are coming and listening to my presentation, especially those on the West Coast. It's definitely an early Saturday morning for you, so thank you again. So as a student, I remember way back in the day, I was 12 years old. I was in middle school, and I would go to school, and afterwards I would kind of, not know what to do, right? So I was trying to find my way. I was trying to find something to latch onto. And so what I did was I played sports, right? And so what I realized was that, there were probably 3 or 4 things you could do at this age. You could play a sport like soccer or basketball, right? Or if you weren't, the athletic type, you can join a music club and you could play different instruments. You can join the orchestra. And so that was kind of like, what me and my friends did. And some other people, they kind of, didn't want to go that route. And so they actually joined a theater class where they went into plays and they did Shakespeare and different scripts. And so what I realized was that, there were probably 3 to 4 different types of areas where students could actually go in and express themselves in an informal way. So I was 12 years old, and I was in middle school, and this was kind of the pathway that I saw for students after school. Now, as a teacher, 13 years later, the thing that I realized is that students still have that same pathway. And so if you're in school, what you literally do is you go to school for several hours, and then you join, one of these particular activities, such as playing a sport, playing an instrument, or joining a theater class. Now, the problem with that is that things have evolved tremendously since I was a kid. And so over 13 years ago, there wasn't much to do, right? And so we had to play sports and do other things like that. In today's society, things are drastically different. For instance, technology has greatly improved. And so students are literally, connected to the internet in many, many ways, right? They have smartphones, they have tablets, they're on the web, they're on social media. And what I realized when going to different events, I would see students rush to their phones after playing a favorite game, or, recording their live music and sharing it with their family and friends, or, telling their grandparents that, hey, you should come check out my play via some hangout or some web conference. And so what I quickly realized was that students, they were really, really trying to get back to technology while they were doing these different activities. And so I thought to myself, it would be really, really cool if we would create our own after school program around technology, right? Someplace where students could actually go out and seek all of the technology driven solutions in some informal way. And so what I did was I joined Google as a teacher along with 14 or 15 other fellows to create this program called Google CS First. And so here's the gift that we have to you. And so Google CS First is a free, yes, I said free, after school program that empowers all students to creatively express themselves. It is completely free. I like to think of CS First as beginning computer science in a box. It is literally a kit that anyone can teach. And so whether you're technical or non-technical, you can teach computer science. And we give this all to you. And so you see these hands right here, we're giving this to you completely free. The next point is that it is a video-based solution, meaning students literally go online, like they always do anyway. They watch a series of videos that instruct them how to build amazing programs around different areas of interest. And a really cool part about this particular box, right, that I'm showing you is that you can run this club, anywhere and everywhere. And so you can run this club in school, you can run it after school, you can run it at a community center, as well as your local library. It is extremely flexible. And so today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you what we'll cover, right? And so we're gonna cover about 5 to 6 different key sections. And I promise you, we won't spend any more than 5 minutes in each section. And so first, we're going to talk a little bit about why computer science is the next superpower, right? Then we're going to go into how CS First can help unleash these superpowers in your students. Then we're going to, for the third piece of it, we're going to kind of see in a day in the life what it means to be in a CS First club as a student, as a teacher, and even as a volunteer. And then I'm going to explain some quick numbers around our impact. What have we done to date since launching CS First? And then to kind of wrap things up, I'm going to explain to you how fast and easy it is to start a club at your location. When I say fast, it is extremely fast. And then, like I said earlier, we'll have some questions. You may have some questions or answers that you want to portray, and I'll try to help get these questions answered. And so I encourage you throughout this presentation to ask as many questions as possible, and then when we get to the end, I'll try to answer them in some neat fashion. All right, so let's get started. All right, so why exactly is computer science the next superpower? And so when I think of computer science is really one thing. It is creating, right? And so it's not this very difficult thing that you may have seen or heard on TV. It is literally creating. Computer science is creating. And so it says here, computer science is the design and the creation of computer programs via some logical instructions. And so it is just literally creating. And on a more formal sense, when I think of computer science, I think of it in 3 key ways. The first way is computer science is a tool that helps you tell a story or make something happen, right? It's a tool. It is also a discipline that emphasizes persistence and problem solving, right? And kind of lastly, it is also a skill, right? It is a real skill, a skill that teaches students how to use computers to create and not just consume. And that's a really, really important piece that you want to understand, right? And so with computer science, they are actually creating rather than consuming. And so an example here on screen, right? A student that was a part of our CS First club actually created their own animation, right? And like I said, they created their own animation using several blocks. And the fun thing about this particular project is that these are the same skills that computer scientists use at Disney, at Pixar, all these really amazing companies. We get a chance to teach these students these exact same skill sets at a very young age. So that's what it is, right? It's very much creating. So what is computer science not, right? It is not consuming. It is not learning how to type, for instance. It is not learning to use word processing and spreadsheets and presentation software, right? And although that's pretty useful, computer science is not that. And lastly, it is not learning how to build or repair computers, right? And so if you want to kind of think of it in one kind of key sentence, computer science is a way for students to creatively express themselves. Now, if it's so amazing, everybody must be doing it, right? But that's not actually the case. And so it is a top paying career where jobs are growing more than 2 times the national average. So when I see that, I'm like, wow, this is really amazing. Everybody must be doing it. Apparently not. Projected 1 million more jobs than students in the next 5 years. And so by 2020, there will be 1 million more jobs than there are students. So that's a very, very, very big opportunity, right? That's a $500 billion opportunity that we are missing out if we don't get computer science to students right now. And it's not just that. In 2012, fewer than 3,000 African Americans and Hispanic students took the AP Computer Science exam. And so frankly, today's students are not taking these courses, right? And so you see on the graph, out of 3.6 million exams, less than 3,000. 3,000 is a very small number. So what are we doing to change this problem, right? And so to fix the problem, Google CS First is developing a student pipeline into these jobs, right? And so we're doing it through early exposure because that's really important to us. And so you may have seen this particular person, right? So Larry Page, our co-founder and CEO of Google, had this to say about computer science. He said, ultimately, the only way to get more people into computer science is to start early. And frankly, we agree with him. And so what we did was we created CS First. And CS First is a free, I want to drill this point down. It is completely free. It is a free enrichment program that targets the middle school students. And so when we were developing this curriculum, right, we had, several key objectives, right? We wanted students to have courage to try new things. We wanted students to have confidence when using computers. That's really important, having a lot of confidence. We wanted students to have perseverance to tackle difficult problems, right? And so you may have expressed a difficult problem in the past. We don't want our students to just, give up or say, I can't do it. We want them to really, really try and tackle these problems head on. We want them to have a huge impact, right? Not just on their personal careers, but also on their local communities, right? And so in order for computer science to become this thing that everybody can participate in, we have to give back to our communities. And most importantly, we want all students to have a sense of belonging, right? In particular, underrepresented minority students. And so we want both racial minority and gender minority students to kind of come together and be a part of this computer science exploration, I guess, as I should say. And so this is really important if we want to attack some of these big dollars, some of these big numbers, so we can get computer science everywhere. And so how do we do this, right? You're like, Kamar, you're talking about computer science. It's a really good opportunity. There's lots of money out there. But how do you get kids interested? It's hard. I've tried it before. Well, I have an answer for you. And so we do this by having themed clubs. And so instead of saying to a student, hey, come join the computer science club, which is very vague in nature, we say, hey, come join the music and sound club, right? And so for those students who are playing instruments, they're immediately like, oh, wow, there's a club around computer science, but I'm going to do something around music, my love, my passion, right? And so, for instance, if you want to say, if you're star athlete, we now have our sports curriculum that recently just launched last week. And so we have over 8 different themes currently public. Actually, we have 8 themes currently public that your students can interact with. And so in storytelling, students use computer science to tell fun and interactive stories. In fashion and design, students learn how to use computer science and technology and see how technology and how it's used in the fashion industry. In our French curriculum, we encourage students to sign up with a friend and imagine a company together, right? And so you get to come in with your best friend and think about all the new ways computer science can impact your life. And then in our newly launched sports curriculum, students get a chance to simulate extreme sports and make their own fitness gadget commercial. And so it's a lot of really, really awesome content. And so the way it's kind of broken down is we have 8 unique sessions that kind of build on each other for one theme. And so if you were to run 8 total sessions, that's about 10 hours of content. And that is because each session is about 75 minutes or 80 minutes of lesson time. And so you have 10 awesome hours of content where students can just really dive into computer science based on their interest area. It's really important to us. And the cool thing about this particular setup or model is that you can run different theme clubs back to back throughout the year. And so if you want to run games in September when school first starts, you can do that. And then follow it by art and storytelling and so forth and so on. And so we really wanted to model computer science in the after school space, much the same way that you teach your core subject areas during the school day itself. And so to talk a little bit about who's actually in our clubs, there are 2 to 3 different types of people. So the first person that we really want to target is you, teachers, right? And so as a teacher, you can bring this club to your local community by going to our website and creating a club. And so usually we have one teacher in a club supervising the entire curriculum, making sure students are on task, they're not behaving badly, which they normally shouldn't be, but in the case that they are, you can kind of just say, hey, you should focus on your work. So that's teachers, right? About 1 or so a club. And then we have this really, really amazing volunteer model with volunteers. They'll come into your school and they'll help lead these clubs. And so if you're busy grading papers, right, or you have some big assignment or you have the lesson plan, you can work with the volunteers in your local community to kind of come in and help lead these clubs. And these volunteers are completely optional. If you're really passionate about this particular space, you can run this club yourself. Right. And so lastly, right, we have students, right? And so every club we suggest should have roughly 20 to 30 students, right? And so these students come into your club, they put on a pair of headphones and they build really, really amazing programs around these different interest areas like sports and music and friends and so on and so forth. And so how easy is it to run a club? And so computer science and CS First, it's really, really easy. So when I think of it in about 4 different sections, right? And so, like I said earlier, we modeled it after the school day so that you felt comfortable running this club in an after-school environment. And so it follows the same exact structure, right? And so we have an opening discussion. And during this particular piece, right, students come in, they're a bit antsy, they're chatting with their neighbor, they're excited that the school day is over, it's been a long day, and so they get to let their guard down and just kind of relax. And so it's up to you as the teacher to gradually ease them into a discussion around what they're going to be building for that day, right? It could be a game, or it could be some storytelling narrative. And so it is your job to, spend about 5 minutes or so kind of getting them into the curriculum for that day. The next piece is showcasing projects. And so during this particular piece, students are going to be pumped up, right? And so, like I said earlier, there's 8 different days. And so from days 2 through days 8, students are going to come into the club and they're going to feel super awesome. They're going to really want to show their programs. They're going to say, hey, you check this out. And so we provide this really neat opportunity where students can showcase their projects to the entire class, right? And so that takes about 5 to 6 minutes or so. And if you want to, you can do more based on the number of kids in your class. And then also, we spend a lot of time, having students just really engage in our curriculum. And so during this particular portion, students just literally put on headphones, they plug it into the computer, they go to our website, and they watch a series of videos, much the same way you would do on YouTube, and they learn, through instructional content, how to build these interactive programs. And this is really the bulk of the curriculum, right? And so they have about 40 minutes just to really play and customize and become this new superhero that I spoke about earlier. And to wrap things up, during the closing discussion, students really want to say, hey, I had a really, really good time in this club. I want to tell my friend that I enjoyed this particular piece of their program. And so students literally have a chance to give shout outs, give kudos, give credit to all the amazing people that helped them tackle these really, really difficult problems. And this is really, really important, right? It is a very collaborative nature. And so when I'm experiencing a problem, I can go to Google search, right? And I can figure out exactly what the answer is, or I can go to my neighbor and say, hey, can you help me figure out this problem? And so you'll naturally see students do this in the club because they really want to help each other. And this is one of the really amazing pieces of our program. And so at its core, CS First was built around a structure that you use during the school day. It is a quick opening discussion, a warm-up activity where they can kind of showcase their projects from previous days. Then we have your standard work time, and then have some small closing discussion to kind of sum up that day's events. And so, are we just starting now? Have we been around for a few months? What is our impact to date? Now you'd be surprised, right? And so today, computer science, or CS First, has reached over 43,000 students. Think about that for a second. 43,000 students. That's a lot of students. But that's not everywhere, right? And so you see on the map, we've kind of done a really, really good job, in South Carolina where we started, right? We have a really, really big presence in New York City, right? As well as the California region. But we're really, really trying to reach every single student. And so we really want to get to rural areas, right? And so we really need you as a teacher to kind of come in, no matter where you're located, whether you're in a school, whether you're in a community center, whether you just love being around kids, and give this really, really amazing experience to students. And so right now we have over 2,700 volunteers participating in our club. And so there's a lot of help. And this is just on a national scale, right? What about internationally? We've even, seen clubs pop up in other countries, right? And so they're everywhere, and not as much as we would like, but we just started. And so this is exactly why I'm having this presentation, right? I really want you, no matter where you are in the world, the power of the internet allows us to transform these kids' lives. And so, no matter where you are, we really want you to kind of jump in and bring this experience everywhere, because there's a lot of work to do, and we can't do it by ourselves. And one of the key things I want to point out is that, so far in our clubs, 70% of our students are female or minority students. And so, like I said, in an earlier part of my presentation, we really want to target these students and make them feel comfortable in the technology space, because it is very well needed. And, as studies have shown, diverse teams lead to great products. And so we really want to sell that point at a younger age. Now, to hit some key numbers. And so, it's a really, really good program, lots of diverse in terms of, types of projects, but what does kids, how do kids feel about our program? And so back in April of last year, we surveyed a bunch of students and we said, hey, how do you feel about computer science, or CS first, And so after 7 days, just 7 days, and some of this, are some of our students, their first time experiencing computer science, they had this to say. So 36% more said, I can create things with computer science, right? 21% said, if I get stuck on a computer science problem, I might know, how I can fix it, right? And so we've seen really, really tremendous shifts between starting on day 1 and day 7, just doing some simplistic computer science concepts and really building some amazing projects. And one of my favorite numbers is that 92% of our students say that, hey, I would join a CS First club or something similar if I had a chance. And so we really wanted students to not just have one experience, but multiple experiences, right? And so we can give students a really, really good experience at the middle school level. Then when they get to high school and even college, they'll say, hey, I really want to do this, right? What courses can I take? And they'll go to guidance counselors and they'll come to teachers. They'll literally come to you and say, hey, how can you help me learn this particular phenomenon? Because it is really, really growing right now. And so, there's a few things that I want to talk about really quickly. And so we love our program because, we created it, but everybody loves our program. And so this teacher host had this to say about our program when we first launched. They said, this is one of the most organized after-school programs that we have ever been a part of. There was no extra stress or work on the teachers hosting the program. And so what does this actually mean? So as a teacher, if you're super busy, right, whether you're grading papers, there's lesson plans, there's end of course tests, there's so much stuff that you have to do as a teacher, and you may ask yourself, I don't have the time for it. I'm too busy. I have to maintain some type of work-life balance. And I agree with you completely, 100%. But the way we built this curriculum is that anybody can run it, and it's super it's super flexible. And so you can use this program in your school. After school, at a community center. And because it's video based, it doesn't require you to actually, provide direct instruction. All of the content is in videos. And so you can walk around and help students as they need help. And so this is why, teachers love our program. Now, to talk a little bit more about, some other people, this particular volunteer just really loves our program and says, hey, students really, really love our program because it's completely unique to them and their excitement is just so awesome. And look at this girl, right? She's super excited. She has her headphones. She's building a really amazing projects. And she says, I get a chance to bring my passport home so that I can never stop programming. And so it's really important that students can do this particular computer science program in school, but also when they get home, when they have more free time. And so, to kind of wrap up our discussion, how do you start a club? And so starting a club, it's actually super easy. It takes literally only 5 minutes. And so if you think about it, put that in some context, right? That's less time than students have in between classes. And so you can literally create a club, between the time that your students are going from class to class. It is really, really, really that simple. And you only need several things, right? You need a computer lab with internet access. And so during this particular component, students just come into the computer. They already have computers. They already have internet access. And so they can just really start to engage in our curriculum. That's the first and most important piece. You need the technology there. The second piece is that we need somebody like you, a teacher, a volunteer. We need somebody to kind of facilitate the club. And so these two pieces kind of go hand in hand. And so if you need extra help based on your schedule, you can get a volunteer. If you're really passionate about the program and you want to run it yourself, or you're an art teacher and you want to kind of see how computer science ties into art, choose our art curriculum. Or if you're a music instructor, you can say, I want to do music and sound curriculum. And so it's really up to you, but we need both students, we need teachers, and we need a computer lab with some internet access. That's really, really important, to have our club run efficiently. And that's it, right? A few minutes of your time. And so that's what you can do. Now, what we would do, like I said, we had this really, really, nice gift box for you. We provide you Keyword, free materials, completely free materials. And so these are just some of the sample things that we'll give you in our club. The focus around, several different areas like marketing and solution sheets and certificates and even headphones if you may need them. And so, like I said earlier, it takes 5 to 10 minutes, right? You choose a theme, you create a schedule, and you go from there. And so that's what computer science is in a nutshell. And so what I'm going to do to kind of wrap up this discussion is I'm going to allow you to ask me some of your favorite questions. And then from that standpoint, I'll give you, hopefully some good answers so that you can bring computer science to your students in the near future. So let's see. The first question is from Sarav, and he says, is CS First available only in English? And, to elaborate on that point, right now, when we first started, we have a lot of English-based content. However, what we just did last week was we launched our first curriculum in Spanish. And so we have one curriculum, our storytelling curriculum in Spanish, and we're constantly going through other curriculums to get them in other languages. And so it's not just Spanish, right? We have other CS First team members in other countries trying to figure out how can we get all of our materials translated into other languages. And it's not just that, right? We also have closed captioning for students who really want to just read the words and understand the content itself. And so that's a really good question. Right now, the majority of our curriculum is in English, but we're quickly expanding into other areas like Spanish and other languages as well. All right, the next question is also from Sarav. So thank you, Sarav. Can CS First be cached, downloaded beforehand for areas with slow or no internet connection? So that's actually true. You can do that. It is not as easy as I would like for it to be. But you can literally download every single video. Just right click and download that video for your curriculum. But we've done a lot of testing. And so what we did early on in our pilot was we made sure all of our videos ran efficiently, no matter what environment you were on. And so the really cool thing about our curriculum is that there's, several videos, students kind of jump on, they watch these videos, and they kind of bounce back and forth between, the video structure and the programming language Scratch to build really amazing projects. And so you can download them, but we did a really good job making sure that, we didn't bog up your infrastructure at your school or library. Next question is from Sydney. She says, what if kids ask me questions about their projects and, I don't know the answer to it? It's a really good question. And so what we do is in CS First is we provide you a lot of awesome materials. The first thing I want to point out is we have our awesome training materials on our website. And so as a teacher or as a volunteer, you can go into our website and learn and understand more of our curriculum, right? In addition to that, let's say you're walking around and the student says, hey, I don't know what's going on, right? So at that point, you may say, man, I can't answer this student question. They're not gonna believe in me. And we don't believe in that. We think it's a really good opportunity for you as a teacher to learn with the student, right? And to kind of have this really neat debugging mindset to answer these questions. And in addition to that, we provide you all of these free awesome materials around club plans and solution sheets. So like if you have any questions, you can refer to our printed materials and we'll pinpoint the answer for your students' questions. And so like I said, there's training, there's the ability to use solution sheets, and also a really good learning experience for both you and your students. All right, so we have 2 more minutes, and so I have a few more questions. We have a question from Ashley. She says, if you need headphones, what is the process to get them and how long is shipping? It's a really good question, right? And so right now we are shipping free materials, both printed headphones anywhere in the United States. And we're also going to be shipping free materials, hopefully in the near future, to other areas. And so the process really is simple. You go onto our website, you say, hey, I picked my theme, I picked my schedule, and we have a nice little small checkbox where you can say, hey, I want headphones. And so just by checking that box, we'll automatically ship you headphones within 3 weeks, a 3-week time. And so if we like to say, start a club 3 weeks ahead from where you currently are, and we'll get these headphones to you as soon as possible. And so it may not even take 3 weeks, but that's kind of what we recommend. All right, and I'm going to do about 2 more questions. And so Nas said, if a club is at a business location providing after-school program, can I charge a fee from students? And to answer that question, you can charge a fee if you want to, but we really want this program to be free. And so we're attacking access and equity. And so, we really want you to give this program for free because that's really the only way we're going to reach all types of students, all kinds of students. All right. And then the last question, can you give us an idea of a sample end product from using CS First? Yes. And so what you can do is actually Google CS First favorites on scratch.mit.edu, and you'll see all of the amazing projects that students can build in our club. Another key component is that on our website, when you're looking through different curriculum, we actually provide you some sample programs that students can actually build. And so you would log onto our website, click on View Materials, and from that standpoint, you can view all of the example projects that students may build, because we really want you to understand what is it that students will build over time so you can help them throughout the entire process. All right, and so, thank you so much for tuning in to the CS First Education on Air Conference. I had a really, really good time talking to you all, and I really want you to take this very, very seriously. Like I said earlier, it's not everywhere, and we're targeting middle school students, and so I want you to start a club when you get a chance, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to this particular alias. It is csfirst-info@google.com. All right, thank you for your time.